Living in the Midwest for the early part of my life, the thought of snow-capped mountains was never something I could conceptualize. It wasn't until our move to Washington State back in 2006 that the beauty of the outdoors truly hit home, not only for myself, but also my parents. Growing up, my dad had routinely spoken about visiting and one day living in Alaska, to be in the wild, free, and vast landscapes of the last frontier. A place with so much history and culture that truly redefined a way of living. Though in 2014, 1 week before my college graduation, I received news of his passing. A loss that still holds strong to this day. I remember driving home on a clear sunny day back in Washington, and off in the distance stood Mount Rainier. My dad, with subtle humor, said, "You know, when I'm no longer here, you're gonna have to take me up there someday." On July 20th, 2018, I fulfilled that promise and stood on the summit of Mount Rainier at 14,410 feet. Fast forward to now, there is still another promise yet to be fulfilled, bringing him to Alaska for his final resting place. Over the next 15 days, my mom and I, or otherwise known as Camp Chef Mom, will be embarking on the trip of a lifetime. We've set our agenda to visit places both known and lesser known, all while having a deeper meaning as to why we are there. Helping to make this trip a possibility are the owners of Alaska Overlander, both Craig and Brook. They have set us up for success by having 2 turnkey rigs ready for the adventures ahead. Mom will be taking the keys to the 2021 Toyota 4Runner, otherwise known as Beluga, receiving its name after the social and playful mammals that call Alaska home. Beluga is outfitted with all you'd expect of an overland rig, including drawer systems for various gear, a drop-down fridge, upgraded tires and suspension, and a very comfortable sleeping setup. For me, I'll be receiving the keys to a familiar rig of a 2021 Toyota Tacoma known as Nenana, named after the 140-mile-long Nenana River, which forms on the eastern boundary of Denali National Park and Preserve. This rig is in a class of its own, with a spacious drawer system, RSI Smart Cap canopy for gear management, a 14-gallon water tank with a 12-volt pump, and the most crucial for me, the Red Arc dual battery system, making charging of production gear a breeze while on the road. For the next 2 weeks, we'll be living full-time out of these vehicles and calling them our home as we travel the thousands of miles exploring the many wonders Alaska has to offer. I invite you to ride along as we share our first-time experience in this land and fulfill the promises as a family. Welcome to the beginning of our adventure to Alaska. Over the next few hours, we'll be flying over 1,400 miles into Anchorage, getting a massive jump start to our trip. While we would have loved to make the drive up, We unfortunately are not blessed with full-time travel or have the endless gas and time budgets, though we are open to conversations in that department. With using 2 weeks of vacation, we are able to make the comfortable journey up and dive right into the adventure with making our initial stop at Alaska Overlander. Upon picking up the keys to our new temporary homes, Craig was kind enough to give a full walkthrough of the rigs and showcase all the gear that comes included with each rental. I was personally excited to try out some new features, as well as use some that I have prior experience with.
It's got to be in neutral, and then you move it across this way and forward.
Yeah.
And then once you're in four-wheel drive low, then you have access to all the buttons.
Yes, thank you.
Little tide table too in here, just in case you're off of cell phone range. And then just a couple of activity guides and everything else here.
With keys in hand, our next stop was groceries. Between 2 fridges and plenty of storage space, this would be our one main stop for the whole duration of the trip. For 3 meals a day, Camp Chef Mom was able to average about $50 per day between the both of us. Granted, we would plan to splurge in towns for getting a nice meal and enjoying the local eateries. After a long day of travel and getting later in the evening, it was now time to find our first night's camp. Just nice and easy through the trees there. The next morning was a quick pack down of camp, followed by briefly exploring the general area. It was easy to say that the bar was set high even after only spending one night here in Alaska. Today, however, was a big day. Something we have planned well into our initial itinerary and would be a first-time experience for both of us. Well, good morning and welcome to day 2 of our 15-day trip here in Alaska. We figured we'd start this trip off right by doing a helicopter tour that's going to take us to a couple different spots along the Scenic Glacier. And honestly guys, this is going to be a first for both of us, as neither of us have been in a helicopter before and going to be able to stand on a glacier here in Alaska for the first time. So I am beyond excited and I cannot wait to share this with you. So we got to the spot here a little early just so we can kind of get everything situated, check in and do all that good stuff. But the views so far have been amazing. The weather is actually cooperating with us a little bit. Alaska's been getting quite a bit of rain here lately, so now that we're here, it's a little bit partly cloudy, so fingers crossed that it stays that way for the remainder of the afternoon. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm beyond excited and I cannot wait to show this to you guys. So stay tuned and let's see where the afternoon takes us. Words truly could not express the feeling of being in this vast and wild landscape, witnessing lakes, glaciers, waterfalls, and wildlife. Something I could have only imagined from the images of others before. To say we were fortunate for having the incredible weather of blue skies and sunshine like we did would be an understatement. Of the 3 landings during the trip, our final would be touching down on the Nick Glacier. At over 600,000 years of age, this glacier now spans at 25 miles in length, 5 miles wide, and an average of 200 feet thick, making it one of the largest glaciers in south central Alaska. I'm speechless. This is only day 2. My goodness, this is incredible. Like, I don't have any other words to describe it. Alaska, beautiful day on a glacier. This is just amazing. What a life experience. I checked off a few bucket list items today. Wow. Our return trip back to base was just as exciting. Mom took the passenger seat up front to witness the surreal views firsthand. I have to give our pilot Shane kudos and thank you for a job well done, making this experience one of a kind and one that will be remembered for a lifetime. P.S. You certainly have the dream job here in Alaska. Now that was an amazing adventure. I think we definitely checked off a couple bucket list items today.
Yeah, that was one for the books.
I have never seen anything so spectacular in my life. I don't think there's words.
There's definitely not, and I'm glad we could experience it as a little mother-son experience. So super cool. I'm very happy we did that. But let's go ahead and find camp, and then we will see where the evening takes us here.
Right on, let's do it.
Short people problems. Tippy toes. Heck yeah, absolutely. We gotta let the people know that on a lifted 4Runner, for people under, what are we, 5'5"? 5'5". That it's a little hard to deploy the tent. There you go. You got it. Well guys, so after wrapping up the incredible helicopter tour, we actually started to head north up through Palmer, and then we're currently in the very beginning of Hatcher's Pass. With it kind of being late in the evening here and dinner time kind of being among us, we decided not to go through all the random trails through the area or further into Hatcher's Pass on finding camp. We actually found I would give it, a decent rating for a parking lot campsite here. It is adjacent to some hiking trails, but they do allow you for $5 a night to go ahead and park your rig and camp. So the views are still great. It's just you are sharing it, but it's not a big deal. If anything, this sets us up for success the following day, because as you may be able to see behind me, there is the Independence Mine, and that is one spot we definitely want to check out for tomorrow. So this puts us in a great position to do so, and then we can go ahead and complete the pass from there and then venture on the following day. So if anything, we have camp all set up. We're just going to hang out a little bit, enjoy the views of the stunning 360-degree views here for the beginning of Hatcher's Pass, and just call it an evening. But overall, incredible day. Absolutely incredible. Our first stop of the day was the Independence Mine, nestled within Hatcher's Pass, a photogenic alpine passage that cuts through the Talkeetna Mountains and the Matsu Valley. Now, without going too deep into a history lesson here, there are several items I wanted to share with you to hopefully spark some inspiration for future travelers wishing to make a visit out here. The Independence Mine is part of a state historical park with 271 acres to explore and bear witness to a way of life from those before. In the late 1800s, the rumor of gold drew thousands of optimistic prospectors to southeast Alaska, the Yukon, and the Klondike. While the frenzy in the interior raged, gold was quietly found in the Talkeetna Mountains north of what would later become Anchorage. Claims were systematically staked, equipment hauled in, and the Independence Mine established. At its peak in 1941, the mine employed more than 200 workers, blasted almost 12 miles of tunnels, and recovered 34,416 ounces of gold, today worth almost $18 million. All these accomplishments were able to support a small nearby boom town of businesses and miner families. Lucrative mining continued until the beginning of World War II, when the Independence Mine was ordered to close by the U.S. government because it was considered non-essential to the war effort. Mining began again in 1946, but restrictions on pricing and increasing inflation made running the mine unprofitable. The site was then abandoned in 1951. For those visiting today, you can experience the true power of time and nature, as the years of snowfall and harsh weather have caved in many of the prior buildings, while the meltwater whisks away the small remaining artifacts. Well guys, what an experience that was, witnessing Independence Mine here to start day 3. Absolutely incredible. I'm amazed by the history and just the amount of effort and work it took to do what those individuals did back in the day, especially with the resources that they had. So if anybody is coming through Hatcher's Pass, I highly suggest you make the stop. It is well worth it, witnessing even the original buildings and structures still as they're deteriorating over time given the weather elements up here. But man, absolutely amazing. The weather is holding off still for us pretty well, so we're going to complete Hatcher's Pass here and then keep working our way further north for today. With Hatcher's Pass completed, we continued our trek north heading into Petersville, Alaska. The Petersville Road is considered the other road to Denali, acting as the southern gateway and certainly one less traveled. Covering roughly 34 miles, this historic bumpy road will span a 2-hour drive one way, not including the stops to take in the landscape views. Known in the beginning as the Cache Creek Wagon Road, this route was the fastest and easiest way to reach the remote mining regions in the areas around Peters and Cache Creek back in 1917. Though years later this road was renamed the Petersville Road as communities along the route began to grow. Today, however, you'll find some of the main active uses include recreational hunting, fishing, and hiking. Though if you're so inclined, the state of Alaska has set aside recreational mining areas, allowing citizens to pan and mine for gold. Who knows, you may just strike it rich in these vast historic lands. So sometimes when I am questioning where the road leads or where something connects, actually throwing the drone up and seeing on the overhead from basically a bird's eye point of view is a great way to save a little time and possibly even some gas on where the road actually goes. So we were, one, trying to find camp, but also trying to find an old mine site as well. And the maps aren't connecting to what we're seeing out here. So We just threw the drone up here for a second just to see where we are, get our bearings, see if even pushing down the road is worth it, and then we'll kind of make a decision for the evening from there. Alright guys, so it is just before 6 o'clock here on day 3 of our trip, and we found a campsite for this evening just south of Denali National Park as we were working our way further north for today. Found an amazing camp. The fall colors are just abundant in every direction. We do have a little weather coming in, but we're also contending with the bugs, hence my bug net screen, as you can see here. So a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of gnats, but you know what, I think that just comes with the territory. Obviously Alaska is kind of known for that, so we definitely found the spot here for them this evening. Thankfully we have the annex all set up off of the iCamper tent, so that's going to be kind of our shelter as we're cooking dinner and just hanging out for this evening. And if it does start to rain, we can kind of just retreat in there, so it works out. But with all that, I will contend with it regardless, because these views are incredible. The fall colors are absolutely spectacular, and this is probably one of the most remote campsites I've found. We are miles and miles off the main road here, so this is amazing. Absolutely love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 4 here of our trip. We're waking up to some overcast skies this morning, and we got quite a bit of rain last night, and I think that's going to change some of our plans for this morning. We wanted to explore some of the side trails off the main route here, and I think with all the rain that has happened leading up to and even last night, those trails are going to looking really muddy. I threw the drone up and they just look pretty bad, and with only basic recovery gear and on a tight schedule, I think we're just going to hold off for another time. But we will complete the main route before heading all the way back out and working our way further north into or around Denali National Park. So we're going to go ahead and start doing that. We already have breakfast made, coffee is going, and as you can see, the bugs are still out and about. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in the truck here, and we're going to work our way moving forward. After exploring more of the Petersville Road, we set our sights north for the few-hour drive outside of Healy, Alaska. Though with half the day already spoken for, we decided to take the later part of the afternoon for simply finding camp, knowing all our efforts tomorrow would be set aside for experiencing Denali National Park and Preserve. In order to drive more than the first 15 miles into Denali National Park, other than using your own personal vehicle, one must obtain a transit bus ticket in order to continue further. There are a few different options when it comes to reserving your ride, though we simply chose the transit bus, the green ones, that allow you to ride with flexibility to experience the park on your own terms. This would include hopping off to go on a hike, visit the interior campgrounds, reboarding on a different bus, and of course, stopping to view the wildlife as appearances are made.
My name's Scott. You call me Scott or Scotty or Hey You or bus driver. I'm the driver today and I'm narrator. I'll be concentrating on keeping a 40-foot bus between the ditches. So that means that I'm going to be concentrating on the road. You guys will be concentrating on looking for wildlife. I never, ever, ever mind stopping to look at a moose that turns into a spruce. Happens every day. Moose and trees, bears and bushes, false alarms are part of this. If you see something you want to stop for, it's holler the word stop. You say the word caribou, I'll assume you're talking about your neighbors, and I'll hit the accelerator.
While some folks may frown at the thought of getting on a bus in order to experience the park, I personally found this trip very rewarding. Even best of all, I feel we had one of the most entertaining and engaging bus drivers as he filled the trip full of lighthearted laughter while giving a great insight into the wildlife that calls Denali National Park and Preserve home. At milepost 43 of the East Fork River, our bus tour would reach its ending point on how far we could go. In September 2021, the Pretty Rock landslide had displaced roughly 14 feet of the only road heading further westbound into the park. It's estimated the Pretty Rocks landslide has been active since the 1960s, and probably earlier since the Denali Park Road was built in 1930. Though due to increased climate change and events of heavy rainfall, these factors all point to the cause of thawing permafrost, which has resulted in the acceleration of what was once a manageable road to upkeep. However, after departing the bus, Mom and I chose to take our adventures to the very end by hiking 1.25 miles to what would be the official end of the current safe public access. Doing a little extra credit by hiking up a little bit more after the drop-off point for the transit buses. I think it goes, what, a mile?
Mile and a quarter.
Mile and a quarter.
About halfway there.
Halfway there. I'm a little out of breath. But all kinds of grizzly bear sightings along the riverfront here. So hopefully with our hike, we can see some more and have some break in the weather. So let's see what happens. Even though we couldn't experience more of the park due to road access and overall timeline, I am extremely grateful to have witnessed what we did. My dad had always dreamed of coming here, and this section of Denali will forevermore hold a special place in my heart. Tell you what, guys, after 4 days on the trail, nothing feels better than a nice hot shower, and we were able to do so at the Mercantile here, right next to Riley Creek Campground within Denali National Park. Not only did they have showers, but there's a laundry facility if you need it, restrooms of course, and a nice little gift shop with ice cream if you so choose. So great little stop here. I think we're gonna grab dinner in town tonight as a little splurge for a great day. And then I think we might also just go ahead and camp here at the Riley Creek Campground for tonight. Make it easy. And that way we can get going on our next leg of the journey early tomorrow morning. Welcome to the Denali Highway. Opened in 1957, this stretch of road spans 135 miles from Paxton to Cantwell, connecting both the Richardson and Parks highways. Before the Parks Highway was completed in the early 1970s, the Denali Highway was the only road access to Denali National Park. The road is mostly gravel with max speeds ranging anywhere from 35 to 55 miles an hour, depending on surface conditions. Though during the winter months, the Denali Highway closes every year from October through mid-May. Services are minimal at best along this road, and it's advised all travelers preparing to take on this journey to pack and plan accordingly. though if you are ready to take on this adventure, you'll bear witness to one of the most spectacular drives in the world, not only for landscape views, but a chance to view the wildlife. Taking a break from the rain and wind, we came across the Clearwater Mountain Lodge and decided to try the local coffee and pie at the Sluice Box. All I can say is I am glad we stopped, as this was one of the more memorable and tasteful visits. So I gotta ask, what's the story on all the dollar bills?
So you see it in like gold mining areas. It's like you come in, you're talking big game. I got a claim. I'm gonna find a beer-sized nugget, and then when you put your name on it, put it up, and then when you come back and you're broke, you can take it down. We know it's yours. You buy yourself a beer.
Perfect.
Nice. And then, you know, since the time that beer is only $1, it's just turned into leave your mark.
There you go. Nice.
It's a very random part of the world.
To keep the tradition alive and having funds for a future beverage, we found our claim on the limited space left on the wall and hung $1.
The rain's coming in sideways.
It's crazy. With the rain not letting up, we kept to staying in the vehicles for most of the afternoon, though we were anxious to see where camp would be for the night. Following the tracks of those before us, we had a destination in mind, though weren't 100% certain it would pan out. So how was that for your first pretty substantial
Water crossing.
Not gonna lie, it was a little intimidating, but I did it.
So another new first for me.
We're knocking off a lot of firsts here. I'm proud that you did it. You just gotta take it nice and easy, not blast into it, but not go too slow.
And you're good. But to be honest here, I will, be the first to admit that we may not do this trail all the way through, just given how much
Rain is coming down and how much deeper those crossings may be as we continue along.
I totally agree. Yeah, I'll let you call it and we'll just go from there.
Sounds like a plan. Well, we found the end of the road here for us. I'm definitely not taking rental rigs or even my rig through a river like this. You can see that's technically the road. So it goes on for well a bit ways longer. And yeah, with all the rain, even more happening. Nope, not happening. Play it smart. Beautiful drive though, my goodness. Absolutely stunning drive. It's just the rain. It's a bugger. With roughly 3/4 of the Denali Highway completed, it was now time to find camp. Though finding anything sheltered from the wind was going to be a challenge. So between the wind and the rain, we're calling it an early night this evening and just gonna be hanging out in our tents. I have some movies downloaded on my tablet, so I'm gonna make it a movie night. But if anything, I just wanted to bring you guys in here and show you what's all happening. This is the big boy. This is the 4-person Skycamp 3.0. It's more than enough room for what I need. And with that, I've kind of configured it in a way to be more comfortable for myself. So with the stock mattresses, there's 2 pieces basically. You have the big piece that fits on this main extension or main panel, and then you have the smaller piece that goes on the extension panel up front. And what I've done is actually just stack them on top of each other, and then I sleep perpendicular to the tent. This way I get even more comfort with the 2 paddings on top, and I fit side to side versus lengthwise the correct way that you should be sleeping. But it's really nice because then I get more comfort on that. Craig and Brook included with all their rentals, they have a down duvet cover here, and then we took it one step further and got a nice little fleece blanket to keep even warmer. 2 pillows that I rock right there for just extra comfort. But otherwise, it's kind of nice. Got a little skylight view to see through and look at the stars. Not going to happen this evening with all the clouds and rain. But otherwise, it's cozy. It's nice to get out of the wind. It's nice to just hang out and relax. So I'm going to put on a movie and call it an evening. So I will see you guys in the morning. With waking up to chilly temps in the low 40s, we made for a quick breakfast and were soon back on the road. Today's agenda was exploring trails north of Paxton along the Richardson Highway. During our preparation for the trip and through inspiration of others, there was a particular road I distinctly wanted to explore. So, rain or shine, we pointed the trucks in that direction to see where the road may take us. Well, we reached the end of the line. While this trail isn't officially on Gaia GPS, we did just follow the 2-track up, and it basically goes to the end of the road, which looks like the road washed away from this dramatic river that you can hear behind me. Basically, we paralleled that all the way coming up, but it's stunning. It's one of those, just kind of, you know, just see where the road goes.
Yeah, just beautiful, just spectacular.
So pretty cool. We're gonna work our way back. I definitely don't, you know, as cool as this is, I don't want to camp here. We did have to go through some prior, what it looked like, some landslides that were almost covering the entire road, and it would kind of suck to be on the opposite end if it went anymore. So we're gonna work our way back, but still pretty cool. So, what'd we do wrong today? I only worked there, but apparently we both missed the extra material of the tent there, hanging out a bit while we were driving most of the day today. So I haven't gone through any of the footage, but if you happen to see some tent hanging out, the material of it, oops. No, bullshit. No. Bad word. No, wasn't me, but that's funny. Well, at least we're going to open the tent and set up camp, so. Good stuff. Good stuff. Just a fun reminder to ensure camp is completely stowed away when preparing for the day's travels. Though with camp found and set up, and a bonus of being sheltered from the wind, we were soon into our evening routine of charging production gear, making dinner, and enjoying a relaxing evening. So the real star of the show is who's keeping us full all these days and nights as we are experiencing all kinds of weather, from wind and rain to sunshine and blue skies. So you are Camp Chef Mom, as everybody knows, and you've been holding down the fort on basically all that is galley and kitchen. What are you whipping up for us tonight?
So tonight we're going to do some chicken soup, little onions, spinach, orzo, little sprinkle of Parmesan on top, and your favorite crackers.
Ooh, got the signature select. They're the knockoff Ritz crackers. Still really good, but soup sounds great. Yep. On a nice cold night.
Day. Yep.
Welcome to day 8 of our adventures in Alaska. We start the day by making a quick detour from our travels to a location many may not have on their initial itinerary. Located at the University of Alaska Fairbanks sits Bus 142, or otherwise known as the Magic Bus, the Stampede Trail Bus, or the Into the Wild Bus. For those who don't know, Christopher McCandless, an American adventure seeker living a self-chosen nomadic lifestyle, had once used this abandoned bus as a makeshift shelter for a recorded 113 days, according to his written journal entries. Living off the land by minimal supplies carried in and what the surrounding landscape provided, Bus 142 was not only a founded refuge, but ultimately became Chris's place of passing. Using a Chinook helicopter, Bus 142 was removed from the Stampede Trail in June of 2020, not only for the safety of those taking on the dangerous hike to see it, but to allow the history of this story to be told in a manner all can learn and experience. Today, the Museum of the North is the official recipientary of Bus 142 and has goals of restoration and preservation for the bus by making it the centerpiece of a free outdoor public exhibit at the museum that will allow people to safely experience all aspects of this vehicle's history. Right on, guys. We are officially on and starting the Dalton Highway, going far north here in Alaska. It's amazing. It's kind of funny, all the pavement and the tarmac that was just instantly stopped as soon as you got close to the start of the Dalton Highway, which is primarily just gravel, very muddy type of road. So we're gonna take it easy. The conditions are a little slick with all the rain, but good start so far. Known as one of the muddier roads in Alaska, the Dalton Highway begins 84 miles north of Fairbanks and ends 414 miles further north in Deadhorse at the Oil Industrial Camp at Prudhoe Bay. This highway provides a rare opportunity to traverse a remote, largely unpopulated part of Alaska to the very top of the continent. It was originally known as the Haul Road because almost everything supporting oil development was hauled on tractor trailers to its final destination. In 1981, the state of Alaska named the highway after James W. Dalton, a lifelong Alaskan and expert in Arctic engineering who was involved in the early oil exploration efforts in the far north. Completed in only 5 months, this highway was officially opened in 1981 strictly for commercial use, though in 1994 public access was allowed all the way to Deadhorse for the first time, and today beckons adventure seekers to explore the still wild and mysterious frontier. Well, folks, after crossing the Yukon River and stopping at the Yukon River camp for a delicious burger, we found camp for this evening at the 5 Mile campground, which is basically this wide open little slab of gravel. We're the only ones here, which works out pretty good. The truck's there behind me, but then we have some really awesome views to look out to. The wind isn't too bad even being this exposed, but fingers crossed that we see some aurora lights this evening. I've been duped this entire time because of cloud coverage up till now, so I'm hoping this far north things can change, a little turn of luck our direction to see them. We do have some decent weather, some blue skies there peeking through, so hoping that stays through the night, but we might stay up a little late just to see what we can see. But otherwise, not a bad camp. We're probably an hour south of actually passing into the Arctic Circle, and we're gonna plan on hitting a lot of that tomorrow. So good little stopping point. It's been a day. We've have well over 200 miles driven today, but we're gonna go ahead and get camp set up, hang out, and enjoy the evening. Whew. Oh my goodness. Cold start to the day, you guys. It was even colder last night. Definitely got below freezing. There was frozen water on the truck and tent and nearby tables and things. Woo! Cold start here. But it's probably going to be even colder because today we're going to be crossing the Arctic Circle. So let's see where the rest of the Dalton Highway takes us. Here it is, crossing the Arctic Circle. Woo!
Oh my God, I can't believe we're finally doing this.
After an incredible drive so far on the Dalton, we are officially here and crossing the Arctic Circle. It's amazing.
Oh my God, I just can't believe we're here. We've been dreaming about this, what, years now?
Yeah, it's incredible. So all the people on YouTube who have made it this far and even farther for providing us the inspiration to venture this way, but even to witness it ourselves, guys, it's put it on your list. It's an accomplishment to get up here and have the means to be able to do so and come prepared and mentally and emotionally ready. It's all that stuff. So pretty freaking cool.
Awesome.
So we're working our way towards the Attigan Pass right now. We're, I would say maybe 20-30 minutes out from it. Going up a kind of a steep section here, and man, oh man, it is a sloppy, muddy, nasty mess. It is just kind of one. We're crawling here at about 20 miles an hour or so. The views are spectacular, but my goodness, is this section of the road just a total mud fest. So be interesting when we finally do stop to see how much is collected inside the fender wells and along the sliders. Sorry, Craig, Chuck got a little money. So this is gonna be our turning point here, the summit of Attigan Pass. This is absolutely amazing. It's only early September and there's snow on all the mountaintops here, and the views are incredible in every direction. I know a lot of folks who travel up the Dalton Highway. The big highlight, what everybody gets to, is Prudhoe Bay and Dead Horse and dipping your toes in the Arctic Ocean. You know, that is amazing, and I will do that one day, but just not this trip. This was the highlight. This was our peak moment. Coming here for so many different reasons, this is a good point for us, and I'm more than okay with it. This is absolutely stunning up here. I mean, there is still so much to see here in Alaska with our less than a week left. So we have a lot that we want to do on the Kenai Peninsula and a lot more to check off our bucket list. So we're going to save those days and work our way back south. But I will be back. This is absolutely stunning up here. Seeing mountain peaks like that provides me a sense of comfort, almost like being at home. That same feeling is what my father had and always imagined what Alaska to be. I know a part of him will find new comforts in the far north within this peaceful, wintry landscape. So pushing on, we descended back down from Attigan Pass in search of camp for the evening. Luckily, I managed to pin a couple good potential sites from our drive passing through earlier. So before going to bed, one of my evening routines here that I do every night is offloading footage for the entire day on each of the devices that I recorded on. So cameras, drones, action cameras, cell phones, tablets, whatever I use to record any content on, I offload all of that. And what I do is I actually put it on my computer here first, and then I also back it up on an external drive just for redundancy and to make sure that nothing gets lost. But this way, everything stays nice and organized. I actually create a folder by each device and then put all those folders in a main one for each day. And then that way, when I get back home and import everything into my editing software, it's all good to go. It's already organized, and it just makes that process that much easier. But it does take the time commitment each night to just go ahead and do it, kind of like homework. Just get it done, get it out of the way, and then you set yourself up for success later. So this usually takes no more than about 20 or 30 minutes with reviewing some footage. And then if I have a little extra time, I'll edit some photos. But otherwise, this is just my nightly routine. I wanted to bring you guys along and just show you the process before heading to bed and doing it all over again tomorrow. So with that, we will see you guys in the AM. With our portion of the Dalton Highway complete, we stopped in Fairbanks once more to rinse the initial layer off the rigs before continuing further south, totaling our travels of over 400 miles for the day. Our goal was to land at a familiar spot knowing hot showers, supplies, and the potential of ice cream await. Well, folks, after a 10-hour day driving on the road and over 400 miles accomplished, basically coming from well into the Dalton Highway all the way down to Denali National Park at Riley Creek Campground once again, we found home for tonight. It was nice. We specifically wanted to come back here because they have the showers really close by to the campsite, so that was nice. And 2 weeks on the road here, we're going to be showering twice. For those asking, in the meantime, I do have the little body wipes, like the shower pouches, so we're not completely nasty, but it is nice to be here to get a nice hot shower, hang out. We have cell service, all that good stuff. So we got the rigs all parked up. We're going to get camp deployed, get some dinner going. But man, it was a drive, 400 miles plus today. So the goal tomorrow, we're going to try and get down to the Kenai Peninsula and check out a lot there and end our trip in that general area. So this is a good landing point for tonight. We're well in a good position to finish out some of the drive tomorrow and go from there. So I'm going to call it probably an early evening. It's been a long day, but just wanted to bring you guys along and give you an update nonetheless. Well, here we go, 400 miles accomplished today. Yes. Woo! Cheers.
Yes, cheers.
Before making a 300-mile push to the Kenai Peninsula, we took the opportunity to fill the water tanks at the Riley Creek Campground inside Denali National Park. This, among many other amenities, was a reason for our desired second stay here at the campground during our time in Alaska. Stocked up on supplies and essentials, we made the long trek south in search for camp, though foresight tells me this would be a top contender of places stayed so far. as beautiful as this site is, we always have to remember to tread lightly, folks. Fire pits are not a trash can. Let's do better. Let's be better. Clean up after yourself when you guys are out here. Like the mother she is, picking up after the trash left by others. Thank you, Camp Chef Mom. All of YouTube thanks you. Cheers.
Oh my gosh, cheers, Michael. Great find.
So not gonna lie, I was a little nervous coming in because it was just non-stop rain on the entire drive in, and I'm thinking, great, we're gonna have zero views. We're gonna be hiding underneath the awning the entire night and going to bed. But thankfully, maybe about 20 minutes after we got here, the rain let up. The clouds are starting to part ever so slightly, and my goodness, you guys, look at this. This probably ranks among the top 2-3 campsites I've ever been at and stayed at. This is spectacular. I am kicking myself in the butt for not having a kayak or a fishing rod at the least, because this would be probably some epic time out on the water. But you know what? There's always next time and the next trip up here. But yeah, we're hanging out. We got the fireplace going, enjoying a nice little beverage, and gonna have a nice meal later this evening. But guys, put Alaska on your list. It is fantastic. Come up here, do it, make it happen. Oh, dang.
That was good.
See if you can beat that one.
That was what, 6?
Maybe. Big old jumps in between them. It's so cute.
3.
So instead of like kind of overarching
Go.
it, kind of like be lateral with the leg, and I kind of whip it sideways.
Okay. Did you see that?
Just more oomph behind
1, 2,
it.
3, 4, 5. That was 5.
If you get more oomph behind
But
it.
it was 5.
I know. You did good. Yeah, if your rock turns, then you're done.
That last one you did was good.
That's a baby.
With a quick start to the morning and finally being able to witness an Alaskan moose, we were on our way towards the Kenai Fjords National Park. Our plan for the morning was to get a quick hike in to witness the exit glacier. Established as an official park in 1980 to protect the Alaskan wildlife and landscape, the Kenai Fjords National Park spans over 600,000 acres, with 60% of the park covered by snow and ice. The park is home to only a few trails found at the end of the exit Glacier Road, which spurs off the Seward Highway just outside of the town of Seward. At the end of this 8-mile-long road is the exit Glacier, along with the Nature Center and trails that offer views of the glacier and the Harding Ice Field. Pretty incredible to think that in 2010, this is where the glacier at one point was, and then the viewpoint way back over there, that was 2005. So in 5 years, that's how much lost, and I'm probably estimate that at, what, 50, 60 yards, you think, or so? That's insane, in 5 years. And today, it's tucked way up there, which is probably another 100 yards or so. So, insane to think about that. Yeah. Goes as a reminder to get out and experience these landscapes now, as they are constantly changing in dynamic ways. I will say though, although popular due to the ease of access, this hike was certainly one of the most scenic viewpoints I've witnessed. Definitely put it on your list should you happen to venture out this way. After grabbing a tasty local lunch of fish and chips, we were off to find camp for the evening. Luckily, there was a spot not too far outside of town that would be a welcome surprise given the scenery. Well, we found camp for the evening of day 12 here. As you can see, the bugs are out in full force. So, got my little netting on. See how the rest of the evening goes. But we found a nice little tucked away, secluded spot with some vegetation and some trees and bushes and whatnot to protect us from the wind, since being exposed out wide open on the river was pretty harsh. So this will be good. It's just with less wind equals more bugs, but hopefully that'll die off this evening. But yeah, not bad. Beautiful area, for sure. Can you see it? Yep, just for proof. Just in case people don't believe me. They're not even like mosquitoes, they're like gnats or something. So, they're just more annoying. I've eaten like 5 of them already. The next morning, we were greeted yet again by rainy conditions, though we didn't let that damper the mood, as breakfast was on point. The plans for today was to head further south for the oceanfront views at Anchor Point. One theme for this trip was the amount of roadwork construction that was taking place on nearly all roads we encountered. This one, however, was more memorable as it reminded me of the standstill traffic experienced on a daily basis back home in Washington. As we came into Anchor Point, we decided to venture on one of the roads leading down to the beach. My excitement of exploring a new area got the best of me as I quickly learned the hard way of needing to look before you leap.
Well, kids, always see how soft the rocks are, so you don't have to try and use max tracks to get out from 5 feet from the road. I know it doesn't look like much, but this is very soft sand, rock, seaweed. So guys, don't do what I did and just go for it. Always kind of test the area before you just drive in, and especially be mindful of the recovery gear that you have. It would have been a lot easier with 4 tracks or even a snatch strap, but with 2 we made do with just a few attempts, and that's all you got to do. So just take the situation one step at a time and you'll get there. Don't freak out that you're stuck, but I gotta wash my hands. This was a little stinky, probably one of the stinkier recoveries that I've done. But we're out, we'll find camp.
Thankfully, Mom didn't follow suit behind me to further the embarrassment of needing to recover both vehicles as opposed to the one. Though with the excitement of the afternoon out of the way, we made for a nearby campground to post up for the evening, giving us a chance to simply enjoy the views. Well guys, as you can hear behind me, we made it to Anchor Point here on the far south end on the Kenai Peninsula. Absolutely beautiful here. Got the waves, the crashing waves there behind me. The rain finally let off. I don't think we've actually had a single day of no rain this entire trip, and even if we have, it came later in the evenings or started out that way. But we did find a campground here kind of in the earlier afternoon. It's nice to actually just set up camp earlier than late in the evening like we have been. Been driving a lot of miles, so it's nice to just relax a little bit at camp, take in the views, and just add yet another scenery list to our overall accomplishments. And we've seen the massive mountains of the Brooks Range way up north, all the lakes and river spots that we've stayed at so far, and the wide open plain area on the far end of the Denali Highway. So it's really nice to kind of take in a whole new landscape view with the ocean here behind me. So really happy with that. But honestly, it's nice to just be able to hang out a little bit at camp, catch up on a couple of our favorite YouTube shows, and just relax. So As this trip is winding down, it's definitely one where we're starting to reflect back on all our experiences so far, and thinking back on it is just absolutely fantastic. And guys, put Alaska on your list. It doesn't have to be the most grand trip in the entire world, and it doesn't have to be several months long. You just got to get up here, pick what you want to see, and just set out and do it. So I know we still have a couple more days left, but I honestly cannot wait to begin editing all this footage. I have well over several hundred gigs of content of photo and video. So I know this is going to be a very, very exciting series to begin editing. But with that, yeah, we're just going to hang out at camp a little bit more for this evening before turning in, and plan to head back probably towards Hope tomorrow and check out that area for our final day of camping before flying back to Seattle. But man, good stuff, good stuff. Put Alaska on your list, make it happen. This is truly a fantastic place to experience and embrace. Welcome to Hope, Alaska. Less than a 2-hour drive from Anchorage, this small town was all the rage when gold was initially discovered back in 1888, which soon after brought over 3,000 gold seekers hoping to strike it rich. The community was soon a thriving social center with stores, hotels, social halls, community councils, post offices, and saloons. Unfortunately, Hope's heyday was short-lived. By 1898, news of the famous Klondike Gold Rush in Canada's Yukon had spread, and most of the miners in Hope packed up for their next opportunity. Among the original buildings still in use is the Hope Social Hall, which was built in 1902. Today, Hope is a known local gym for great opportunities of fishing, rafting, camping, hiking, and surprisingly incredible tasting food. Camp Chef Mom and I decided to take the day off from cooking to enjoy the local eats and what would soon be known for their evening entertainment and live music. While nearly everything on the menu sounded good, what really caught my eye was the chef-famous chicken wings. Naturally, I had to order and compare against those from before, and let me say, these were by far among the very best. That paired with a beverage of choice, and you got yourself a fine meal. With some of the best hospitality and atmosphere so far, we decided to stay a while longer and embrace the local flair of the evening's live music. Packing out the Creek Bend Cafe on this fine Friday night was none other than the band known as Loaded Karma. This 5-piece crew stole the hearts of everyone as they performed reggae hits with a banjo, a pink guitar, and memorable attire. The band had certainly brought a smile to our face, as well as a fun evening to celebrate our last night here in Alaska. Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to day 15 of our trip here. We are in Hope, Alaska, and last night we spent the night in town. It was a really cool little place. They had some live music going, great food, and just an awesome atmosphere. So we ended up finding a open site here at the campground just at the very far end of town, which was all of a few minute drive. So we landed here late last night, but as per usual, and as the Alaskan mornings start, we have rain. I don't think we've started a single day on this trip on clear skies, but that's okay. This is our last night. This is the last night we had sleeping in the tents, our last pack down of the tents. But we are going to move to give ourselves a little bit more room to make some breakfast before heading back towards Anchorage. But man, I'm glad we came here. Hope is a really cool, unique little town. A lot of history, a lot of friendly folks here. Fun place. Put it on your itinerary. All right, last time. Can she do it? Lifted 4Runner versus 5'5" mom. Oh, with a little bit of water splashback. So this one's been tough because we have to stand all over the truck and everything due to our vertical difficulties packing this big 4-person tent away. But with leaving one of the ladder rungs down, you can actually get a little bit more leverage. But there we go. Always got to give her a hard time. It's always difficult when anything comes to an end, especially a first-time experience like this in Alaska. Out of the 15-day journey here, there's absolutely nothing I would have changed on our itinerary. Well, maybe one thing. Odd how the sunshine decided to come out in full effect on our final day as opposed to the weeks before. Before getting to the airport, we had one final stop to make before returning back to Washington. Craig and Brook, the owners of Alaska Overlander, graciously invited us to their home, not only to drop off the rigs, but to host a lunch and catch up on our past 2 weeks on the road. Let me say, the stories from our days here in Alaska will forever be memories held close to the heart, and I can't thank Craig and Brook enough for helping us turn this trip into a reality. As lunch came and went, so did the hours leading up to our flight back to Seattle and the realization of life at home waiting for us. 15 days, over 2,600 miles driven, 68 hours on the road, and a total ascent of over 90,000 feet in elevation, our time in Alaska was certainly well spent. The landscapes witnessed, history learned, people met, food enjoyed, and personal goals and challenges accomplished made these last 2 weeks simply unforgettable. Dad, this one was for you.
just beautiful. That's the word for this whole series. Beautiful.
Beautiful. That would be the word.
Your dad would have loved this.
Until next time, safe travels.